I couldn't believe it when I walked outside and saw it again. My neighbor, that HOA board member, who everyone jokingly, or maybe seriously, calls Karen, had plugged her Tesla into my outdoor outlet without asking. For the third time. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake. The first time, I let it slide. The second time, I confronted her, and she brushed it off like I was being dramatic. But this time, I decided to get creative. Now, before you judge me, let me explain. I've always tried to keep the peace in our neighborhood, especially with people on the HOA. But when someone keeps helping themselves to your electricity and acts like you're the problem, you reach a breaking point. So I came up with a plan. It involved my treadmill, a smart plug, and just a little bit of pettiness. Let me back up a bit. Karen's not just any neighbor. She's the type who sends emails if your grass is half an inch too long. The kind who thinks the HOA rules don't apply to her, but applies them like law to everyone else. So when her Tesla started charging off my power again, I knew it was time to turn the tables. Let's just say, the next time she tried to charge, she got a workout instead. So here's the backstory. When I first moved into the neighborhood, things seemed chill. Quiet street, decent folks, and the usual HOA stuff, nothing crazy. Then I met Karen. She introduced herself like she ran the place, which technically she kinda does. She's on the HOA board and makes sure everyone knows it. At first, I didn't think much of her weird energy, but it became clear fast. Karen doesn't ask for things. She just takes asterisk. The Tesla situation started about a month ago. I came home one night, and there it was, her car plugged into the outlet I have by my garage. No note, no knock, nothing. I unplugged it and figured maybe it was a one-time thing. But a few days later, it happened again. I tried to talk to her about it, just neighbor to neighbor, and she gave me this half smile like I was overreacting. Said something like, "Oh, I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. We're all in the same community, right?" I didn't want to escalate anything, but she kept doing it. I even added a sign on the outlet, asterisk not for public use. Asterisk, she took it down. That's when I realized this wasn't just someone being clueless. She knew what she was doing. And honestly, that's what made it so frustrating. She didn't care. After the third time, I started documenting everything. I took photos, saved security cam clips, even kept a log of the dates and times her Tesla was plugged in. Not because I wanted to get her, but because I had a feeling I'd need proof eventually. And sure enough, the HOA drama started rolling in soon after. One day I got an official letter taped to my door, something about my trash cans being out too long. Funny, since I always pull them in the same day. A few days later, I got cited for excessive noise. I live alone. My TV volume barely gets past 15. It didn't take long to connect the dots. This wasn't just about the electricity anymore. Karen was using the HOA as her personal toolbox. Anyone who called her out got the rulebook thrown at them. I wasn't the first neighbor to clash with her, but I might have been the first one to push back. Others had warned me in passing. One guy said she fined him for having a garden gnome because it wasn't in harmony with the neighborhood aesthetic. Another family mysteriously got a citation for an unapproved patio umbrella the week after they declined her invite to an HOA meeting. So yeah, this Tesla thing, it was just the surface. The power she wanted wasn't just electric. One day, I got home later than usual after work, and there it was again. Her Tesla plugged in and charging away, like she was totally entitled to use my power. I had had enough. This wasn't just about her being rude anymore. It was about boundaries being crossed repeatedly, and I wasn't going to let it slide again. I looked at my outlet, and then at my treadmill sitting in the garage. That's when the plan hit me. What if I could turn this situation into something a little more interesting? I've got one of those smart plugs that syncs with an app on my phone, and I realized I could set it up to control whatever gets plugged in. And then it clicked. I could link it to my treadmill. So, if Karen wanted to charge her car on my outlet again, I'd make sure she didn't get what she expected. I spent the next few hours setting everything up. I made sure the treadmill was plugged in and ready to go, linked it to the smart plug, and set the app to activate the treadmill as soon as she plugged her Tesla in. The thought of her walking back to her car, thinking she was going to leave with a fully charged battery, only to see the treadmill start up instead, made me grin. It was petty, sure, but after everything she'd done, I felt it was justified. The next morning, I sat inside waiting, and I didn't have to wait long. Karen pulled into the driveway, her usual air of entitlement following her. As soon as she plugged in that cord, I hit the button. The treadmill rolled to life. At first, everything went exactly as I planned. Karen stood there, looking confused as the treadmill began to move, its belt whirring to life. She glanced at her car, then back at the machine, and I could almost see the wheels turning in her head. For a moment, I thought I was going to get away with it. Finally, a little justice for all the times she'd taken advantage of me. But just as I was about to sit back and enjoy the show, something unexpected happened. Karen didn't panic. In fact, she didn't even look upset. Instead, she started laughing. Not the kind of laugh you give when you're embarrassed or caught, but more like she was in on a joke I didn't understand. It threw me off for a second. I waited, trying to figure out what was going on. Was she just pretending? Had she been onto me the whole time? But then the plot thickened. She reached into her car and pulled out something small, a little device, and within seconds, I heard a sound I recognized, my smart plug being disabled. My stomach dropped. She had one too. Apparently, she'd been anticipating this move the whole time. She had set up her own countermeasure, a way to override my control. My heart raced as I realized I was locked in some sort of silent battle of wits with this woman, and this time I was no longer in control. What would she do next? For a moment, all I could do was stare at her as the treadmill came to a screeching halt. My heart was pounding in my chest, but Karen was unfazed. She looked at me with that smug little smile again, the kind that made my blood boil. "Nice try," she said, tapping her device. "But you didn't think I'd be caught off guard, did you?" I felt like an idiot, standing there, helpless, as she took control of the situation. But then something shifted inside me. I wasn't going to let her win like this. I'd already let her walk all over me one too many times. I wasn't about to lose this small victory. Without thinking, I rushed to the outlet and yanked the cord out of the wall. The device in her hand flickered, and she cursed under her breath. She hadn't expected me to go all in, but she clearly wasn't prepared for the fact that I had a backup plan too. I'd taken the liberty of secretly installing a second plug, a hidden one, just in case things went south. This one was connected to a completely separate circuit. I hooked it up to my treadmill and my phone again, this time disabling all of her overrides. Now I had the power back. As she tried to reconnect, I activated the treadmill once more. But this time, I didn't just let it run. I cranked the speed up. Fast. It was a little over the top, but honestly, after everything, it felt so good to see her scramble as the machine started moving at lightning speed. But just as she was about to pull away in frustration, she stopped and turned to look at me with an expression I didn't expect. "You really think this is over, don't you?" she said, her voice cold. "You'll regret this. Trust me." It was the way she said it, like she was already plotting her next move. I didn't know what that meant, but for the first time, I realized maybe I had just started a much bigger game than I bargained for. After Karen's cold warning, I wasn't sure what to expect next. Was she really going to escalate things? But as the days went by, nothing happened. No angry emails from the HOA, no mysterious punishments for my little stunt. In fact, Karen seemed oddly quiet. I couldn't help but wonder if I had finally caught her off guard, or if she was biding her time for something bigger. Either way, I had won this round. But the experience taught me something valuable. Sometimes, standing up for yourself doesn't just mean being right or getting even. It means setting boundaries, even with the most entitled people. It wasn't about the electricity, or the treadmill, or even Karen's Tesla. It was about respecting each other's space and rights. I'm sure Karen still has tricks up her sleeve. I wouldn't be surprised if she came up with something next, but for now, I'm ready for whatever comes. I've learned how to deal with her, and more importantly, I've learned to trust my instincts. Standing my ground wasn't just about winning, it was about keeping my peace. So, if you ever find yourself dealing with a Karen, don't be afraid to fight back. But also remember, you might just learn a thing or two about your own strength along the way.